Montana, a land of rugged beauty, where the whispers of the past echo through vast wilderness. But hidden deep within its untamed heart lies a secret, a structure that defies explanation, a colossal wall shrouded in mystery, its origins lost to the mists of time. For centuries, it lay concealed beneath a blanket of fallen trees and forgotten memories, a silent sentinel bearing witness to the passage of eons. Now, it emerges from the shadows, challenging our understanding of history and the very forces that shaped our world. The Sage Wall. Is it a marvel of nature or a testament to a lost civilization? Join us as we journey into the unknown to unravel the enigma of this ancient wonder.
Hidden deep within the remote mountainous wilderness of Montana lies a structure that defies conventional explanation. For centuries, it remained concealed beneath a dense canopy of fallen trees and thick foliage, virtually unknown to the world. This is the Sage Wall, a massive alignment of granite blocks stretching across the landscape in a perfectly straight line. But what secrets does it hold? Could this be the work of an ancient civilization, or is it a marvel of natural geological forces? As we approach the wall, questions multiply. The structure is composed of enormous granite blocks, some weighing up to 91 tons. They are intricately stacked and interlocked like pieces of a colossal puzzle, extending up to 275 feet in length and reaching heights of 25 feet above ground. Remarkably, studies suggest the wall continues another 15 feet below the surface. Granite doesn't typically split into consistent 90-degree angles and corners, so how did these stones come to be so precisely shaped and arranged? The landowners, Christopher Borton and Linda Welsh, were unaware of the wall's existence until they decided to clear a portion of their property. The discovery sparked curiosity and speculation. The wall's unique features, its straight lines, angular formations, and mysterious knobs on the stone surfaces, bear a striking resemblance to ancient megalithic sites found in Peru, Egypt, and other parts of the world. Could there be a connection? Is it possible that this wall was constructed by an advanced civilization lost to time? Independent researcher Michael Collins, host of the YouTube channel Wandering Wolf, documented the wall extensively. He was astonished to find numerous knobs on the stones, features commonly found on megalithic structures around the globe. But what purpose did these knobs serve? And why would they appear here? Collins also discovered large channels and additional walls made of tightly fitted stones, all aligned in exact straight lines. Some stones seemed artificially modified, with cuts and grooves reminiscent of ancient masonry techniques. Could this area have been a prehistoric complex, now collapsed and eroded? Above the Sage Wall, smooth, straight chutes flow down the mountainside, resembling polished concrete. Could these have been water channels engineered by ancient hands? Moreover, numerous stones in the area bear round cavities known as cup marks, among the oldest forms of rock art found worldwide. Their exact purpose remains a mystery, but their presence here adds another layer to the enigma. As interest in the site grew, the landowners organized a team of scientists, geologists, and archaeologists to study it using ground-penetrating radar and magnetic susceptibility testing. They discovered that the granite blocks exhibit an unusual level of magnetism, with magnets sticking to the vertical walls, an uncommon trait for granite. Additionally, radar revealed a perfectly flat foundation beneath the wall, suggesting deliberate construction. Could these findings indicate that the wall was engineered by humans with advanced knowledge? The site also caught the attention of Dr. Samiros Managic, known for his work on the Bosnian Pyramid. After visiting the Sage Wall, he concluded that the site is most likely man-made. He noted that the wall is perfectly oriented to face the winter solstice, a characteristic shared by many ancient megalithic sites. Could this alignment indicate a sophisticated understanding of astronomy by its builders? Dr. Osmanagic suggested that the wall might date back to before the end of the last ice age, over 11,700 years ago. If so, whoever built it must have possessed advanced technology now lost to history. The wall's strategic location adds intrigue. It's situated along ancient migration routes between Asia and North America, precisely between the Cordilleran and Laurentide ice sheets that once covered the continent. The area is rich in mineral deposits, including the largest quartz crystal found in Montana. Was the Sage Wall an essential prehistoric site for early human occupation and activity? Yet, if the wall is part of a massive prehistoric megastructure, wouldn't we find more megalithic sites nearby? Indeed, other intriguing formations like the Tyzer dolmen have been discovered in the vicinity. This structure resembles dolmens found in Europe and Asia, large stones arranged in a table-like formation. The Tyzer dolmen features a massive horizontal capstone resting on vertical stones, creating a small chamber beneath. Could this be further evidence of an ancient civilization in North America? Dr. Osmanagic observed that at the Tyzer dolmen, stones break vertically, which is uncommon in natural formations. He suggested that the stones were originally formed horizontally and later reoriented to create the structure. The precise placement of the capstone seems unlikely to be a product of natural forces. Michael Collins noted similarities between the Sage Wall and the Tyzer dolmen, including knobs, holes, and strange linear marks on the stones. Could these features indicate man-made design? Skeptics offer alternative explanations. Author and explorer Timothy Alberino conducted an in-depth analysis of the Sage Wall and argued that it is a natural formation resulting from volcanic and tectonic activities. He pointed out that the fissures in the wall start from the base and extend to the top, following natural paths. Moreover, there's a notable absence of cultural artifacts, no tools, pottery, or signs of human habitation that would typically accompany an ancient man-made structure. Geologist Dr. Stuart Parker supports the natural formation theory. He explained that the knobs could result from differential erosion, where softer rock erodes faster than harder sections, leaving protrusions behind. The crevices and fissures, he noted, are consistent with natural geological processes. If the wall is indeed natural, how do we explain its uncanny resemblance to man-made structures elsewhere? The debate continues, with passionate arguments on both sides. Is the Sage Wall a relic of an advanced, forgotten civilization, or a remarkable natural formation that tricks the eye? Perhaps both nature and ancient human ingenuity played roles in its formation. The wall challenges our understanding of history and geology, inviting us to explore possibilities beyond conventional explanations.
Deep within the unforgiving wilderness of Russia, where ancient forests whisper secrets and shadows dance with the unknown, lies a mountain shrouded in legend. Votavara, a place where the laws of nature seem to bend and the boundaries between the real and the supernatural blur. Here, trees twist in silent agony, their forms defying logic and reason. An unsettling silence hangs heavy in the air, broken only by the wind whistling through the skeletal branches. Life, as we know it, seems to have abandoned this place. Locals call it Death Mountain. Scattered across this desolate landscape are thousands of ancient stones, the remnants of a forgotten past. Were they placed by human hands or by forces beyond our comprehension? What secrets do they hold? Ruins emerge from the undergrowth, hinting at a lost civilization, a culture that vanished into the mists of time. Who were these people? What knowledge did they possess, and why did they disappear? On the shores of a nearby lake, ancient rock carvings whisper tales of a time before history. Strange figures and symbols etched into the very fabric of the mountain, offer tantalizing clues to a forgotten world. Is Votavara a window into a lost civilization, a place where the veil between worlds is thin? Or is it merely a natural anomaly, a testament to the power of human imagination? Join us as we journey to find out.
In the remote wilderness of Russia's Karelia Republic lies Votavara, a mountain enveloped in legend and mystery. Locals whisper of its otherworldly energy, a place where trees twist unnaturally and ancient stones defy understanding. This rugged landscape, once part of ancient Finland, has been revered for millennia by the Sami tribes and shamans, ancestors of modern Finns. They believed Votavara held special spiritual power, and today it continues to draw those curious enough to unravel its unexplained phenomena. As one ascends Votavara, the mountain's strangeness becomes increasingly apparent. The journey begins through dense pine and fir forests, but soon the trees start to twist and contort in unnatural ways. Trunks spiral as if caught in a slow-motion dance, and branches curve downward, forming eerie shapes that challenge logic. At the summit, no tree is older than a few decades, suggesting an unseen force periodically resets the forest's life cycle, leaving a landscape frozen in endless renewal. The unsettling atmosphere is heightened by an almost supernatural silence. No birds call, no creatures scurry, and the lakes dotting the slopes are devoid of fish. This absence of life, combined with the twisted trees and desolate atmosphere, has led locals to nickname it Death Mountain. Yet, despite its eerie reputation, Votavara attracts explorers, spiritual seekers, and curious minds alike. Adding to the enigma are about 1,600 massive stones known as sides, arranged across the terrain in deliberate formations. Sacred to the Sami, these stones were believed to represent spirits of nature or earth guardians. Balanced delicately on smaller rocks, they appear to float just above the ground, their massive weight seemingly defying gravity. While some scientists attribute their positions to glacial movements during the Ice Age, the precise balancing of so many stones challenges this explanation. What are the odds that 1,600 stones would rest so perfectly in such precarious positions? If these stones were placed by human hands, it raises questions about how ancient people achieved such feats. The delicate balance suggests they were placed with great care, ensuring the smaller supporting rocks weren't crushed. Could an ancient civilization have possessed advanced knowledge or tools beyond our understanding? And if so, what purpose did these sides serve? Were they markers, altars, or part of a complex spiritual map laid across the mountain? One of the most intriguing features is a formation known as the Well. Locals speculate that this stone structure is an ancient man-made reservoir, with blocks cut into rectangular shapes too precise for natural erosion. Despite centuries of weathering that have cracked and deformed the stones, remnants of precise interlockings remain, hinting at human craftsmanship. Similar structures exist elsewhere in Europe, such as the carved tank at Bulgaria's Perperikon Sanctuary, which channels water through intricate grooves, surviving thousands of years. Might the Votavara well share a connection with such sites, hinting at a broader lost knowledge that spanned ancient Europe? If so, how did ancient builders across vast distances and time share similar techniques? Scattered among the megaliths are other enigmatic artifacts, smooth oval stone spheres often resting on natural pedestals. Their surfaces, worn but clearly crafted, resemble finds near the Bosnian Pyramid and in Costa Rica, where over 300 such spheres have been uncovered. Their purpose remains unknown. Were they used in ancient rituals? Symbols of lost knowledge connecting distant peoples? Or merely artistic expressions lost to time? The similarities between these objects across far-flung sites suggest connections modern science has yet to explain, leaving a tantalizing mystery. Beyond the seeds, spheres, and well, Votavara reveals more structures that challenge natural explanations. One appears to be the remains of ancient stairs, partially buried in the rugged terrain. The stones forming these steps are squared and smoothed, fitting together with precision that seems artificial, like a staircase leading nowhere, perhaps once part of a larger, lost complex. While some scientists suggest natural geological formations, visitors often leave with the impression that the mountain holds secrets, defying easy explanations. Another curious ruin resembles a prehistoric wall composed of large, squared stone blocks fitting together with uncanny precision. Though weathered by time, the blocks retain traces of their original smoothness, hinting at sophisticated craftsmanship. Is it possible that this wall, like other structures on Votavara, was built by a civilization that has vanished, taking its knowledge and techniques into history's mists? The mysteries extend beyond physical structures. On the eastern bank of Lake Onega, Europe's second largest lake, lies ancient rock art known as the Onega petroglyphs. Carved into granite cliffs rising from the lake, these 1,200 carvings are estimated to be 5,000 to 6,000 years old. Remarkably, they use light and shadow to transform the cliffs into a prehistoric canvas that shifts with the setting sun. During the day, the carvings are nearly invisible, blending into the rocky surface. But as the sun descends, the granite turns a deep red, and the images emerge in stark relief, illuminated in a stunning natural display. It's as if the ancient artists intentionally chose this location to bring their visions to life using nature's light. The imagery of the Onega petroglyphs is as mysterious as Votavara itself. Unlike familiar motifs of Eurasian rock art, these carvings predominantly feature waterbirds, especially swans, etched with precision that suggests deep reverence. The most striking figure is a human-like creature with a rectangular body and an oversized square head, over 2.5 meters long. Carved into a rock overlooking Lake Onega, its placement suggests it was seen as a spiritual gateway to the netherworld by the Neolithic people. Centuries later, Christian monks defaced the figure, carving a 7-pointed orthodox cross over it, believing it to be a symbol of the devil. Their actions were part of efforts to suppress what they saw as pagan beliefs, leaving a legacy of conflict and cultural erasure. Yet, despite attempts to suppress the mountain's spiritual legacy, Votavara's allure endures. Today, many visitors journey to this remote region, drawn by its palpable energy. They come to meditate among the ancient stones, hoping to connect with the spirits said to inhabit this mystical place. Walking among twisted trees, enigmatic formations, and ancient carvings, they ponder, is Votavara a relic of a lost civilization where ancient knowledge intersects with unexplained natural forces? Or is it simply a natural anomaly, its reputation shaped by centuries of human imagination and wonder?
But before the Aztecs and before the Maya, there were a culture who are referred to as the Olmecs. The settlement story of the Americas is much more complicated than we've realized. And what the DNA is doing is it's telling us that there was something really weird.
In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, there was a growing fascination with ancient civilizations, particularly in the Victorian era. This interest was driven by a mix of cultural trends in exploration, colonization, and a certain romantic allure attached to discovering lost cultures. Major institutions like museums and universities, primarily in Europe and the US, started funding expeditions to unearth ancient artifacts and understand the history of indigenous civilizations in the Americas. It was a time when archaeology began to evolve from just hunting for treasures to a more scientific approach, focusing on careful excavation and detailed analysis.
One of the things I've realized is that there is no classic Native American feature, that Native Americans are have a very complex genetic story with very many different elements brought into it, and we shouldn't be necessarily surprised by the supposedly non-Native American look.
Interestingly, during this period, many artifacts, especially the colossal heads and stone structures found in the Olmec region, were often wrongly attributed to other well-known civilizations like the Maya or Aztec. This was largely because the unique aspects of Olmec art and iconography weren't immediately recognized, partly due to a lack of an overall framework to understand the region's history before Columbus. A couple of notable explorers, John Lloyd Stephens and Frederick Catherwood, played a significant role in stirring up interest in Mesoamerican cultures with their explorations and writings, particularly their books on travels in Central America and Yucatan. Their detailed accounts and illustrations captured the public's imagination, sparking a wave of interest in these ancient cultures. While they mainly focused on the Maya, their approach to systematically document their findings and blend travel narratives with scholarly observations greatly influenced future archaeologists studying Mesoamerica.
It's been known by archaeologists for quite a long time that there are anomalous skulls in parts of Brazil, which appear to show very strongly Polynesian or African features, very much like the features that we see on the Olmec heads.
Around this time, there was also a trend in comparative archaeology, where discoveries from different parts of the world were compared, helping to place Mesoamerican civilizations in a global context. Museums began to transition from just storing artifacts to becoming centers of research and education, playing a crucial role in spreading knowledge about ancient cultures. This era also marked the start of interdisciplinary approaches in archaeology, integrating fields like anthropology, linguistics, and early forms of environmental science. This broader, more inclusive approach helped in piecing together a more comprehensive understanding of ancient civilizations, including the intriguing and complex Olmec culture. Back in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, when Western archaeologists were exploring Mesoamerica, they started coming across these massive stone heads. Some of them were over 9 feet tall and weighed several tons, with distinctive features like flat noses and fleshy cheeks, often adorned with helmet-like headgear. But here's the thing. Despite their impressive size and unique features, their true cultural significance wasn't immediately understood.
They're most famous for is these huge carved human heads, which can be on a scale of up to 20 to 25 tons, which have curious features which have been interpreted variously as Polynesian, African, don't look like classic Native American features.
One of the earliest significant findings was made by José Melgari Serrano in 1862 at Tres Zapotes in Veracruz. He unearthed what we now know as one of the first Olmec colossal heads. Melgari Serrano even described the head as having Ethiopian features, which tells us a lot about the perceptions and biases of that era. But, and this is crucial, his discovery didn't really spark a broader understanding of the Olmec culture right away. For a long time, these heads were seen more as intriguing oddities rather than pieces of a larger cultural puzzle. It took several decades and a lot more digging before the significance of these heads truly began to be appreciated. Initially, many people thought these artifacts might belong to other known civilizations, like the Maya or Aztec, because the idea of the Olmecs being a distinct, early Mesoamerican civilization hadn't quite taken shape yet. It wasn't until the mid-20th century, with more systematic excavations led by archaeologists like Matthew Stirling, that the true picture began to emerge. They found more colossal heads and other artifacts, and this really helped to establish the Olmecs as a significant and influential civilization in their own right, predating and possibly even influencing others like the Maya and the Aztecs. Back in 1945, a really important expedition took place, led by this guy named Matthew Stirling. He and his team headed to San Lorenzo, right in the heart of what was once Olmec territory. This wasn't just any random adventure. It was a big deal because the Smithsonian Institution was backing it. They saw the potential in figuring out more about the Olmec sites, which could really shed some light on Mesoamerican prehistory. Before Stirling got there had been some poking around in the area, mostly because people kept finding these huge stone heads. These finds were intriguing but didn't quite give the full picture. So enter Stirling. He was already pretty well known in archaeology circles and had a real knack for Mesoamerican cultures. He was the perfect guy to take on such a complex task. Now, it wasn't an easy job. The San Lorenzo site was in this tropical area, covered in thick jungle. Just getting to the site and starting to dig was a huge challenge. They had to clear a bunch of jungle without messing up any artifacts that might be hiding there. And let me tell you, the weather didn't make things any easier. It was humid, unpredictable, and not the best for keeping ancient artifacts in one piece. The site itself was huge, spreading out over several kilometers. Sterling and his team had to figure out where to start digging because there was no way they could cover the whole area. They did an initial survey which took a lot of time and planning, and then decided on the most promising spots to start excavating. They had to be super careful with how they dug things up. The artifacts were old and fragile, especially with the humidity. Plus, they had to keep track of everything they found, where they found it, and all the details, which was crucial for understanding the site later on.
It wasn't something the Maya made up. The Olmecs used that same symbolism. So the Mayan calendar is actually an Olmec calendar.
What they found at San Lorenzo was amazing. It turned out to be one of the oldest big cities in Mesoamerica, dating way back to around 1200 to 900 BCE. That's even before civilizations like the Maya and Aztecs that most people are familiar with. The artifacts they unearthed, especially those massive stone heads, were a big deal. They were carved from single blocks of basalt and had all these unique facial features. It was clear that the people who made them were incredibly skilled. All this hard work at San Lorenzo really helped piece together the story of the Olmecs. It gave us a clearer timeline and showed just how complex and advanced their society was. Diving deeper into San Lorenzo, which is super important when it comes to understanding the Olmec civilization, it's considered the oldest major city in Mesoamerica, dating back to around 1200 to 900 BCE. That's way before other famous civilizations like the Maya and Aztecs. Radiocarbon dating was key here. It helped archaeologists nail down the timeline of the site, giving a much clearer picture of when the Olmecs were doing their thing. Now, the most famous stuff they found at San Lorenzo. Definitely the colossal heads. These huge sculptures were carved from single basalt blocks and are known for their unique facial features like almond-shaped eyes and broad noses. A lot of them have these intricate headdresses too, which might have been a sign of high status or had some ceremonial purpose. But there's still a lot of debate about what all the symbols mean. The size of these heads is just mind-blowing. Some are up to 3 meters high and weigh around 50 tons. Imagine the skill it took to carve those. But it wasn't just the heads. They found jade figurines and a bunch of different pottery styles, which tell us a lot about their daily life, art, and even trade. The jade stuff suggests they had trade networks because jade wasn't just lying around everywhere. And the buildings. They found large structures like platforms and what might have been houses for the elite. This points to a society that was really well organized and had the resources to build big. The way San Lorenzo was laid out is also fascinating. It had a central axis, which indicates that the city was carefully planned. There were separate areas for ceremonies and living, showing a sophisticated urban structure and hinting at a social hierarchy. All this stuff from San Lorenzo has been super important for understanding the Olmecs. It's given us a much clearer timeline of their civilization and shown just how complex their society was. The variety in the artifacts, from the colossal heads to the pottery, shows that they were not only skilled in stone carving, but had artists and craftsmen who were really good at what they did. It's like San Lorenzo has given us a window into a past world, showing us how these ancient people lived, worked, and created. After the exciting discoveries at San Lorenzo in the 1940s, archaeologists turned their attention to La Venta, another key Olmec site in Tabasco, Mexico, in the 1950s. This shift was a big deal because La Venta offered a new window into the Olmec world. Known as one of the earliest complex societies in Mesoamerica, the explorations here were more focused and methodical, thanks to archaeologists like Philip Drucker and Robert Heiser. These guys weren't just digging around, they brought in techniques from other fields like anthropology and geology, giving a fuller picture of the Olmec civilization. La Venta is super important for understanding the peak of Olmec culture. The site was in its prime from around 900 to 400 BCE, a time when the Olmecs were really showing off their artistic and architectural skills. One of the standout features of La Venta is the Great Pyramid. It's not like the pyramids in Egypt. This one's made of earth and clay and has a unique conical shape. It was one of the biggest structures in ancient Mesoamerica at the time, which tells us the Olmecs were pretty good at organizing big construction projects. The pyramid was probably more than just a big building. It's believed to have been a key spot for ceremonies or religious activities, kind of like the heart of Olmec ritual life. The way they built it and other structures at La Venta, and how they aligned them with astronomical bodies, shows they were pretty savvy with engineering and astronomy. It was likely a bustling cultural hub where significant ceremonies and gatherings happened. When archaeologists started digging at La Venta, they did things a bit differently than before. They were super systematic about it, focusing on layers of soil and the context of each artifact they found. But they had their work cut out for them. The tropical climate and the fact that many Olmec structures were made of earth really made preserving and understanding these finds tough. They had to be meticulous in recording everything they dug up, which has been a goldmine for future analysis. Now, just like at San Lorenzo, La Venta is famous for its massive basalt heads. Carved from huge boulders, these heads are thought to be representations of Olmec rulers or other big shots in their society. But there's more. The site is full of altars with intricate carvings showing people, animals, and all sorts of symbolic scenes. It's like getting a glimpse into their mythology and rituals. And then there's the jade. La Venta turned up loads of jade artifacts, from beautifully carved figurines to celts. These weren't just pretty things to look at. They showed how skilled the Olmecs were and hinted at long trade networks, since jade wasn't just lying around nearby. But here's where it gets really interesting. The burial sites they found were complex, with all kinds of elaborate practices. They also found mosaic pavements made of serpentine and various offerings, which likely had deep religious meaning. All this stuff from La Venta has been super important in piecing together who the Olmecs were, their social structure, religious beliefs, and artistic talents. However, keeping La Venta in good shape for future studies is a challenge. The site's battling both natural elements and human factors, so preserving this amazing place is crucial, not just for archaeology buffs, but for understanding a key part of human history.
Siberia, a land of unforgiving wilderness where secrets lie frozen beneath layers of snow and ice. But in 2013, a discovery thawed out a mystery that could shatter the foundations of human history. Deep within the Shoria Mountains, explorers stumbled upon a site that defied logic. Gigantic stone blocks, some weighing more than 3,000 tons, assembled with an impossible precision. Walls that dwarfed the pyramids of Egypt, a construction so monumental it whispered of a civilization far older and far more advanced than we ever imagined. But how could such colossal structures be built in this remote and hostile land? Who were these master builders, and what cataclysmic event could have led to their disappearance, leaving behind these enigmatic stones as a haunting monument to their existence, a silent echo of a civilization lost to time? Join us as we delve into the mystery of the Gornaya Shoria megaliths, a journey into the heart of Siberia.
In 2013, deep in the Shoria Mountains of southern Siberia, explorers stumbled upon a site that defied explanation. Massive stone blocks, some over 3,000 tons, arranged in formations that suggested human design. This was the beginning of the mystery of the Gornaya Shoria megaliths, a discovery that could challenge everything we know about ancient history. The expedition, led by Georgy Sidorov, ventured into a region that had remained hidden during the Soviet era. Rising 3,600 feet above sea level, the Gornaya Shoria site held enormous stone structures, stacked with surprising precision. Upon arrival, the team encountered granite blocks with flat surfaces and sharp angles, some towering over 140 feet high, forming what appeared to be a colossal wall stretching over 700 feet. Each block measured around 65 feet in length and stood between 16 to 23 feet tall, dimensions that dwarfed Stonehenge and the pyramids of Egypt. But one question remained: how could such immense stones have been carved, moved, and placed in this remote landscape. Sidorov's notes speculated that the site might date back 100,000 years, pushing the timeline of human construction into uncharted territory. This hypothesis remains speculative, but if accurate, it suggests an advanced civilization that vanished, leaving only these stones behind. The Gornaya Shoria megaliths resemble other ancient structures, like the Baalbek stones in Lebanon or the Sacsayhuaman walls in Peru, sites that have puzzled archaeologists for decades. Yet Gornaya Shoria stands apart due to the immense size of its stones and its remote location, suggesting a level of engineering far beyond what ancient humans are believed to have achieved. Adding to the mystery were circular holes and signs of melting on some stones, as if exposed to intense heat. Sidorov speculated about ancient rock fusion techniques, or even a thermonuclear event, ideas that remain controversial. What could cause such damage? Was it a natural disaster, or some unknown ancient technology? Or, as some suggest, could it be the aftermath of a cataclysmic event that destroyed whatever once stood here? The mystery deepened when the researchers' compasses malfunctioned near the stones. Sidorov suggested a negative geomagnetic field, possibly a remnant of an ancient energy source. Similar geomagnetic disturbances have been seen at other ancient sites, prompting theories that ancient people understood how to harness natural forces in ways we have yet to rediscover. But the harsh Siberian climate cut the expedition short, forcing the researchers to leave before they could find definitive answers. Yet, the clues they gathered hint at a mystery that could rewrite our understanding of ancient civilizations. If these megaliths were built by humans, they suggest a forgotten chapter of history, one with skills and knowledge beyond what we have recorded. If humans built these structures, how did they survive in such a harsh environment? And why settle in the Shoria Mountains, where winters bring deadly cold? During the last ice age, around 20,000 years ago, much of the northern hemisphere was buried under ice. Yet Siberia's mammoth steppe, a cold grassland, offered refuge. Woolly mammoths and other large animals roamed, providing resources for survival. Evidence shows that humans adapted to this land. Stone tools, ivory weapons, and the remains of hunters have been found, suggesting that people thrived here earlier than previously thought, some dating back 30,000 years, nearly twice as old as the earliest known human sites in the Americas. Could the builders of Gornaya Shoria have found a haven in this challenging environment? Gornaya Shoria invites comparisons to other mysterious sites, like Baalbek's 1,000-ton stone blocks or the precisely fitted walls of Sacsayhuaman in the Andes. These places share a common question. How did ancient peoples move and shape such massive stones without modern technology? Unlike those sites, Gornaya Shoria is far from known trade routes or civilizations, adding to the puzzle. Could similar knowledge have spread across ancient cultures, even separated by vast distances? Such theories have led to speculation about a pre-flood civilization, a society that may have existed before a cataclysm reshaped the Earth. Stories of lost civilizations, from Plato's Atlantis to the Great Flood, align with this idea. Could the Shoria megaliths be remnants of a society that thrived long before recorded history, only to be wiped away by disaster? The massive stones and their precise arrangement suggest the work of ancient builders, perhaps echoing their knowledge through similar sites around the world. Despite these theories, official research has been limited. Russian authorities classify the site as a natural formation, suggesting geological processes shaped the blocks. But without thorough archaeological investigation, this conclusion remains uncertain. Observers note the sharp angles and regular arrangement, making a natural explanation seem less likely. Could wind and water alone shape such structures, or do they reveal the mark of ancient craftsmanship? A link between Gornaya Shoria's stones and other megalithic sites, like the underwater ruins off Japan or the terraces of Pumapunku in Bolivia. The scale and precision of these sites hint that ancient builders might have shared architectural knowledge despite being separated by oceans. Could an ancient network have connected these cultures, leaving behind a global puzzle? Beyond the academic debate, Gornaya Shoria inspires more speculative ideas. What if these stones were not just the remnants of an ancient civilization, but designed with a purpose we don't yet understand? Could they have functioned as an energy center, tapping into geomagnetic forces? Some theorists point to the circular holes and signs of melting as evidence of ancient technology, perhaps a form of energy manipulation or a defensive mechanism that led to the site's destruction. These theories remain controversial but echo ancient legends, stories of cities destroyed by fire from the sky, of civilizations lost in sudden cataclysms. Tales like the sinking of Atlantis or the fall of Sodom and Gomorrah resonate with the stones of Gornaya Shoria. Could these myths hold a hidden truth about the structures beneath the Siberian wilderness? For now, the Gornaya Shoria megaliths remain an enigma, caught between myth and reality, nature and human design. Until more research is done, the truth remains buried in Siberia's frozen landscape. But if these megaliths were crafted by human hands, they could reshape our understanding of ancient history, challenging our beliefs about early human capabilities. As the sun sets over the Shoria Mountains, the megaliths stand as a silent mystery, questioning everything we know about human ingenuity. Are they remnants of a lost civilization or the result of nature's forces? Until more evidence emerges, Gornaya Shoria continues to invite speculation and wonder.
But what about this bizarre enclosure wall that surrounds it? Each of these 3 blocks weighs 900 tons. And it's extraordinary the way they're built into a wall and raised 30 feet above the ground like this. A wall, the provenance for which has not been established by archaeology.
Deep within the dense forests of New Zealand's North Island lies the Kaimanawa Wall, a structure shrouded in mystery and controversy. With its precisely aligned blocks that mimic the handiwork of an ancient stonemason, this wall challenges the conventional timeline of human history in New Zealand. Could this be the remnants of a lost civilization, or simply an incredible feat of natural geology? Or was there another creator of these walls we don't know about? As debates continue and theories abound, the Kaimanawa Wall invites explorers and scholars alike to delve into its mysterious presence, potentially rewriting history with each new discovery. In the 1990s, an unexpected discovery by helicopter pilot Barry Brailsford dramatically shifted the focus of historical and archaeological exploration in New Zealand. While flying over the dense, rugged terrain of the Kaimanawa Ranges in the central part of the North Island, Brailsford spotted an unusual formation. From his aerial vantage point, this formation was clearly visible as a series of large, neatly arranged stone blocks. Their unusual and striking regularity, characterized by straight lines and precise angles, made them stand out distinctly from the natural ruggedness of the surrounding landscape. This area of the Kaimanawa Forest Park is quite remote and not easily accessible on foot, which likely explains why the formation had remained unnoticed by ground-based observers. Recognizing the potential significance of his find, Brailsford took decisive steps to ensure that both the public and the scientific community became aware of the formation. He began by capturing photographs of the wall. These images were crucial for documenting its characteristics and facilitating the initial assessments by geologists and archaeologists. Understanding the broader implications, Brailsford also reached out to local media outlets, sharing his findings and the intriguing images of the wall. This proactive engagement with the media was instrumental in sparking widespread interest and debate about the nature and origins of the wall, bringing it into the public eye and making it a subject of fascination and controversy in equal measure. The Kaimanawa Wall and its peculiar features bear a striking resemblance to ancient megalithic structures, sparking a lively debate about its origins, whether it's a product of natural geological processes or an artifact of an ancient civilization. The wall is remarkable for its orderly assembly of large rhyolite blocks. These stones are not only uniform in size, but also exhibit geometric precision with their straight edges and sharp angles, characteristics that are uncommon in natural rock formations, which typically show more random and varied profiles. The wall stretches approximately 30 meters in length and stands about 2 meters high. Each block is nearly identical in size, which varies slightly, but stays within a narrow range, suggesting a level of precision that is either a remarkable act of nature or evidence of human craftsmanship. To understand more about this mysterious structure, detailed geological surveys have been conducted at the site. These involve analyzing rock samples and the structural composition of the wall to determine the type of rock, its age, and the possible geological processes that could have led to such a structured appearance. The findings reveal that the wall is composed of rhyolite, a volcanic rock prevalent in the Taupo volcanic zone. Rhyolite can fracture naturally in straight lines, particularly under conditions where the lava cools uniformly and slowly. The uniform and angular disposition of the blocks at the Kaimanawa wall is consistent with certain types of natural stone fracturing processes, known in geology as jointing, which can create angular and straight fractures. Most geological assessments classify the Kaimanawa wall as a natural formation, primarily because of the natural occurrence of columnar jointing in volcanic rocks, similar to rhyolite. This process can result in formations with surprising geometric regularity, akin to those found in well-known sites like the Giant's Causeway. The debate continues, however, as these compelling comparisons and scientific analyses deepen the mystery, leaving room for different interpretations and ongoing research into this megalithic structure. The Giant's Causeway, nestled on the northeast coast of Northern Ireland, serves as a stunning natural wonder of the world and provides an interesting point of comparison to the mysterious structures of New Zealand's Kaimanawa Wall. Renowned for its roughly 40,000 interlocking basalt columns, the Giant's Causeway was formed about 50 to 60 million years ago during the Paleogene period. This unique formation occurred when a volcanic eruption caused highly fluid lava to spread across a large area. As this lava cooled, it contracted significantly, particularly at the surface, which cooled more rapidly. This contraction led to the formation of vertical cracks that ultimately shaped the distinctive hexagonal columns that are so characteristic of the causeway. Interestingly, while most of these columns are hexagonal, they can have anywhere from 4 to 8 sides. The columns vary in height, with the tallest reaching about 12 meters and diameters ranging from 15 to 25 centimeters. Beyond its geological significance, the Giant's Causeway is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site, celebrated for its natural beauty and its contribution to geological research. This site is particularly valued for its classic example of columnar jointing, offering vital insights into volcanic cooling processes. It acts as a crucial natural laboratory for geologists who study these phenomena and has played a pivotal role in confirming theories regarding the cooling rates and contraction forces of basaltic lava. The site is also deeply embedded in local mythology and folklore, most notably through the legend of Finn McCool, an Irish giant. According to legend, Finn built the causeway to reach Scotland and confront another giant. When he saw the immense size of his opponent, Finn retreated. His wife then cleverly disguised him as a baby, tricking the Scottish giant into believing that if the child was so large, the father must be truly colossal. Frightened by this prospect, the Scottish giant fled, destroying the causeway behind him to prevent pursuit. Turning to the Kaimanawa Wall, while it shares the feature of symmetrical stone patterns with the Giant's Causeway, its origin sparks more debate. The discussion oscillates between natural geological processes and possible human construction, unlike the clearly natural origins of the Giant's Causeway. This situation highlights how similar geological phenomena can manifest under vastly different conditions and interpretations, showcasing the complexities and wonders of Earth's geological diversity. This comparison between two such diverse geological formations underlines the intricate ways in which natural forces and, potentially, human influences intertwine to shape our understanding of the world's ancient landscapes. Another reason to believe the Kaimanawa Wall in New Zealand could have been man-made is by looking at the Inca walls in Peru. They both represent two fascinating yet starkly different types of stone constructions, each with their own unique characteristics, construction techniques, and surrounding theories. The Inca walls, notably at sites like Sacsayhuaman and Ollantaytambo near Cusco, demonstrate an exceptional level of craftsmanship in stone masonry. The Incas utilized a technique known as ashlar masonry, where large stones are meticulously cut to fit together tightly without any mortar. The precision of this stone cutting is so remarkable that not even a blade of grass can fit between the stones. This technique not only provided structural stability but also enhanced the wall's resistance to earthquakes, a common threat in the Andean region. These walls are not just functional, they hold significant cultural importance, reflecting the Incas' sophisticated understanding of architecture and their deep connection to their environment. The alignments of the walls with celestial events like solstices and equinoxes underscore their importance in Inca religion and agricultural practices. The precise methods used by the Incas to shape these stones remain a subject of debate among archaeologists. Some theories suggest the use of tools made from harder stones or bronze, while others propose techniques that involved heating the stones and then rapidly cooling them with water to create fractures. In contrast, the origin of New Zealand's Kaimanawa Wall is shrouded in debate. While some suggest it might be a natural geological formation resulting from the regular fracturing of volcanic rock, specifically rhyolite under certain cooling conditions, others speculate about its potential as a man-made structure. A key point in this debate is the absence of tool marks, which are clearly visible on the Inca walls. This supports the theory that the Kaimanawa Wall's formation might be natural rather than crafted by human hands. The unusual regularity and symmetry of the stones at the Kaimanawa Wall, while rare in natural formations, are not deemed impossible by geologists. Similar formations have been noted in other parts of the world where columnar basalt or other fracturing patterns have occurred due to volcanic activity. The Inca walls are undeniably the result of intentional, skilled labor, showcasing advanced techniques in stone cutting and construction. In contrast, the Kaimanawa Wall, if a product of natural geological processes, represents an intriguing example of how natural forces can mimic the appearance of intentional construction. While the Inca walls were integral to the social and religious fabric of their creators, built to last and to impress both the gods and future generations, the Kaimanawa Wall's significance lies primarily in the mystery of its origins, whether it is a remarkable natural geological artifact or evidence of a forgotten civilization. The Kaimanawa Wall, if confirmed to be man-made origins, could radically reshape our understanding of New Zealand's prehistoric past. This enigmatic structure could suggest the presence of an advanced pre-Maori civilization, challenging the currently accepted timeline of human settlement in the region. Such a revelation has significant implications, not just for archaeologists and historians, but for the entire narrative of New Zealand's history. Over time, the wall has woven itself into the fabric of local lore and speculative histories. Various non-mainstream historians and enthusiasts have suggested that it might be evidence of ancient settlers or even lost civilizations. This is similar to the speculative interpretations that surround other mysterious ancient structures found worldwide, where local myths and global intrigue often blend to form compelling tales of forgotten histories. The ongoing interest in the Kaimanawa Wall exemplifies a broader global fascination with unexplained structures. It continues to be a focal point for discussions about archaeological methodologies and the interpretation of ancient sites. This mystery invites a deeper dive into the past, prompting calls from within the scientific community for more comprehensive studies to ascertain the true nature of the wall.
The Amazon basin is 7 million square kilometers in area. And within it, 5.5 million square kilometers remains almost entirely unstudied by archaeologists. We've done world archaeology, but we've just ignored the Amazon. What we find in the Amazon are thousands of henges that are now beginning to emerge from the cleared area of the jungle, and others that have been identified for the first time with LiDAR.
Discoveries of ancient civilizations in the Amazon jungle have unveiled a complex and sophisticated history that challenges previous assumptions about the region. These discoveries, made through a combination of aerial surveys, satellite imagery, and ground expeditions, reveal the existence of large, well-planned urban settlements, extensive road networks, and advanced agricultural techniques, suggesting a much higher level of social organization and environmental management than previously thought. The Kuhikugu complex in the Upper Xingu region of the Brazilian Amazon offers an incredible glimpse into the advanced urban planning and societal organization of pre-Columbian civilizations, long before European contact. Nestled in the remote Amazon basin in present-day Mato Grosso, Brazil, this area is a treasure trove of biodiversity. The dense rainforests and network of rivers likely played a key role in the development and sustenance of this complex society. Covering about 50 square kilometers, the Kuhikugu complex is home to over 20 settlements. These aren't just randomly placed, they're strategically positioned to make the most of the region's natural resources. What's fascinating is how these settlements are connected. Imagine a series of straight roads, some stretching for several kilometers, laid out with such precision that they often align with the cardinal directions. This not only facilitated travel, but also shows a high level of planning and coordination. Then there's the canal system, an impressive display of hydraulic engineering, likely used for everything from transportation to water management, and maybe even fish farming. The variety of structures within the complex is equally remarkable. From large public buildings and ceremonial spaces to individual homes, the architecture reflects a hierarchy in building techniques, hinting at different social or functional roles within the society. And speaking of society, estimates suggest that at its peak, Kuhikugu could have supported a whopping 30,000 to 50,000 people. This is deduced from the sheer number of residential structures and the expanse of agricultural land.
Along the Amazon, he reported seeing incredible cities, advanced arts and crafts, millions of people, a thriving culture.
The rediscovery of the Kuhikugu complex in the Amazon is a fascinating story that blends modern technology with traditional archaeology. Initially, this hidden gem was revealed through aerial surveys and satellite images. Imagine flying over the dense Amazon rainforest and suddenly spotting the outlines of an ancient civilization. Then, archaeologists like Michael Heckenberger and his team took over, conducting extensive ground excavations. They employed advanced techniques like LiDAR, which is like X-ray vision for archaeologists, to see through the forest canopy and map the area accurately. Now let's talk about how old this place is. Using carbon dating, a method to tell the age of artifacts and soil, scientists figured out that people lived in the Kuhikugu complex for several centuries, dating back to as early as 800 AD. They found all sorts of things like pottery, stone tools, and ornaments, giving us a glimpse into the daily life and creativity of the people who lived there. Here's the kicker. Before finding Kuhikugu, many thought the Amazon was mostly an untouched wilderness before Europeans arrived. But this discovery turned that idea on its head, showing that the area was home to a large and complex society. It's like finding a hidden chapter of history in your backyard. This place shows us that humans had a big impact on the Amazon way earlier than we thought. They even made their own super fertile soil called terra preta, which is still rich and productive today. What's really cool about Kuhikugu is how it shows that the people there knew how to live sustainably. They had advanced farming practices, managed water well, and lived in harmony with their environment. It's like they were eco-friendly before it was trendy. This discovery also made us rethink the role of indigenous societies in the Amazon. It turns out they knew a lot about how to manage the land and shape the landscape. It's a reminder of how important it is to value and learn from indigenous knowledge. And lastly, the biodiversity in the Amazon today might partly be thanks to these ancient civilizations. The variety of plants near these archaeological sites is way more than in other areas of the forest.
The Amazon is basically a garden. The Amazon is a man-made rainforest. There are certain trees like Brazil nut trees or the ice cream bean tree, which are food crops, which are very, very valuable.
Marajo Island at the Amazon River's mouth is like a time capsule that takes us back to the Marajoara culture, a sophisticated civilization from around 800 to 1400 CE. Imagine an island almost as big as Switzerland, right at the meeting point of a river and the ocean. This place, with its mix of forests, savannas, and wetlands, is not just big but also incredibly diverse. It's the perfect backdrop for the Marajoara people to thrive, providing everything from food to resources for their unique lifestyle. Now, the Marajoara culture is something special. They were known for their artistic flair, especially their ceramics. Picture pots and plates with intricate designs, complex patterns, and images of animals and people. They weren't just making these for fun. Their ceramics were a big part of their culture and beliefs, like the large, beautifully decorated urns they used for burials. These suggest they had quite complex ideas about life, death, and everything in between, but it's not just their art that's fascinating. They built these massive earthen mounds, some over 10 meters high. Think about that. That's like stacking 3 buses on top of each other. These mounds were probably used for everything from homes to ceremonial sites, and might have even protected them from the frequent floods. This shows they were pretty savvy engineers and architects, adapting to their challenging environment in style. The way they organized their society was also quite something. It seems there was a clear hierarchy, with some people leading the way in managing resources and religious practices. And they had different roles for men and women, which we can figure out from the things they left behind. Now let's talk about their farming skills. They were ahead of their time, creating raised fields to keep their crops safe from flooding. Their diet was a mix of what they grew, along with fish and game from the surrounding area. And they were smart about managing water with their canals and ditches, which was pretty crucial in a place that floods a lot. Santarém, right where the Tapajos meets the Amazon River, is a fascinating place, especially when you think about its history. This spot was like the grand central station of its time, bustling with trade and culture. Picture boats coming in and out, carrying all sorts of goods and ideas from different parts of South America. The area around Santarém was rich in resources, which helped the settlement thrive. Now, the people of Santarém were known for their incredible pottery. We're talking about really intricate designs here, geometric patterns, pictures of people and animals, and even mythical beings. The level of detail in these pots and plates is just mind-blowing. And it wasn't just about looking good. These designs tell us a lot about their culture and beliefs. The way they made this pottery was pretty advanced too. They had techniques for molding, firing, and painting that were way ahead of their time. The variety of colors and the way they used glazes show they really knew their stuff when it came to chemistry and kiln construction. It's like they were the master chefs of pottery, knowing exactly how to cook up the perfect piece. Santarém was more than just a local market. It was a cultural hub. The different styles and motifs in the pottery suggest they were mixing it up with all sorts of cultures. And it wasn't just goods they were trading. They were probably swapping stories, ideas, and practices too. The town itself, from what we can tell from the ruins, was pretty well organized. They had different areas for living, working, and probably for community gatherings or ceremonies. It's like they had their own little urban planning going on. But back to the pottery, it's not just about how it was made, but what it tells us about the people of Santarém. It gives us a peek into their daily lives, what they valued, and how they connected with others. The geoglyphs in the Amazon, especially in the Brazilian states of Acre and Rondônia, are like a secret world that's been hidden under the dense forest canopy for centuries. It wasn't until the late 20th and early 21st centuries, mostly because of deforestation, that these incredible earthworks started to come to light, thanks to technology like satellite imagery and LiDAR, which is basically like having X-ray vision from space. Over 450 of these geoglyphs have been mapped. This discovery has completely changed our view of how people lived in the Amazon before Columbus. Now, these aren't just a few lines in the dirt. We're talking about huge designs that can stretch over a kilometer and cover several square kilometers. They come in all sorts of shapes: circles, squares, rectangles, and more intricate forms. Some even have patterns like radial spokes, which add to their complexity. The sheer size of these geoglyphs hints at a society that was really well organized and could bring together a lot of people to create these massive works. But how did they make them? Well, they would remove the top layer of soil and vegetation, revealing the lighter-colored earth underneath. This contrast made the design stand out when viewed from above. It seems like they used a variety of tools made from materials like stone, bone, and wood. The level of precision in these geoglyphs shows they were not only skilled, but also had serious planning chops. Some of these geoglyphs line up with astronomical events, like the solstices and equinoxes. This suggests they might have been used for tracking celestial events or for ceremonial or religious purposes. Imagine large groups of people gathering at these geoglyphs for festivals or rituals. It must have been quite a sight. But here's the really cool part. These geoglyphs tell us that the societies in the Amazon before Europeans arrived were much more complex than we thought. They could modify their environment on a large scale and had a social structure where leaders could organize big projects. And despite the size of these geoglyphs, they were made in a way that respected and integrated with the surrounding landscape. So discovering these geoglyphs has really turned our understanding of the Amazon's history on its head. It's no longer seen as just a vast, untouched wilderness, but as a place where complex, organized societies lived and actively shaped their world.